Hey Definians, hope you guys are doing awesome. So very excited to share with you guys the second part of the character series for the Good Wars patch guide part 3B. So let's get into it. First one is Arthur, so let's get into his backstory. So really cool backstory of how he joined Ouroboros. It goes to the lore of the original King Arthur where it talks about Excalibur, but then this story also talks about him meeting Dante, Prometheus Fire, and also Solomon too. And let's go to his hyperscale right here.
Wipe the enemies out!
Ooh, with the cool pose. So I like how there's like actual character or voice actor speech in there. Really cool. So let's get into his skills. His basic attack, 100 to 140% to the closest target. And if it's level 6, the target deals 10% less damage for 2 rounds. So super OP. Next one is similar, except a little bit higher damage. But now it's to all enemies. And now the targets, all of them deal 11% less damage for 2 rounds, which is insane. And that's for if they're level 6, so would recommend getting to that. Then Hyperskill is an upgraded version of that even too, where it's also all enemies, but now the targets do 22% less damage for 2 rounds. So this is absolutely insane. Arthur is OP as heck. So a recommended strategy would be to nullify the enemies, so weaken all of the enemies as soon as possible by utilizing your skill and hyper skill to weaken the enemies. So maybe you can do Tornado, Frost for second and third, and for Tornado also for really trying to hit that hyper skill so that you can nullify your enemy ASAP. Then for stats, maybe you can do very high speed so that you can attack right away, nullify them right away. Very high attack so that you can do a lot of damage with them so that your other characters can finish off the enemy. Medium health and low crits. Then team examples could be Nicholas, Hassan, Alfred, Arthur, all thunder to utilize those skill and that Ouroboros buffs. Maybe it could be Chopin, Caesar, Jean, Arthur to utilize that Athena Aegis buff with Earth, so a little bit more shield as you nullify the enemy. Or you can also do Morgan, Oda, Solomon, Arthur for that lore right there, but also very OP team that can attack all the enemies with Thunder also to utilize your skills. Then next off we have Queen of Sheba, so let's get to her backstory. So Queen of Sheba's backstory talks about how she meets Solomon, her interactions with Oda, and etc. So let's get into her hyper skill. So super good. That's probably one of my favorite new hyper skills of pretty much all the characters. Really aesthetic. I like it. So her skills are very unique. Basic one is one random ally in the front gains 35 to 50% of Sheba's attack for 2 rounds. The skill is now there's 2 random allies in front row, or with the highest attack, they gain 35 to 50% of Sheba's attacks for 2 rounds. Then the hyper is now 3 random allies in front row with highest attack for the same amount too. So she's more of a character that buffs other strong characters. So maybe a strategy you could use is more like a booster Glass Canyon, where you buff the enemies and then they maybe kill her and then utilize the Ouroboros buff so that you can buff your teammates. So maybe it could be a Mountain Range, then second, third high pressure, fourth Tornado to really buff them. Stats could be very high speed, so cast the spell before she dies, very high attack to utilize that percentage of the attack feature, low health, and medium crit. So team examples could be Erwin, Hugo, Alfred, Queen of Sheba with Win, so that he can do the buff right away and then have those characters attack and kill the enemy. Maybe we can have Edison, Arthur, Morgan, Queen of Sheba, so that they buff those OP characters. And then we can also have Beowulf, Cervantes, Hercules, Queen of Sheba, where they utilize the Prometheus Fire buff. So she buffs them, they utilize the faction buff, and then their skills become even stronger. Next off we have Thomas Edison. Let's get into their lore. I'm very excited about this because I actually wrote this in the lore contest we had last year. So this is actually the background I wrote. So if you guys want to, feel free to read that. It talks about the actual history of the person too, like them cleaning the light bulb, phonograph, then her being childish, her best friend Alfred, and etc. So really cool that we were able to make that. So unfortunately couldn't find her hyper skill, but let's get to the skills. Basic attack is 100 to 150% to the closest target. Skill is an even stronger version of that, and the target loses 30 energy if it's level 6, so super OP. Hyper skill, same thing, but even stronger with the same effect. So a recommended strategy could be zapping the target's enemy's strongest character's energy. So you can utilize a tornado first, frost second, third, fourth tornado to really focus on doing that. Then for stats, you can do very high speed, so you zap their strongest enemy's energy right off the bat. High attack, then medium health, so that maybe she can be a glass canyon where she also gets sacrificed for the other characters that are stronger, and low crit. So team example could be like Irwin, Hassan, Alfred, Edison to utilize their skills. Then it could be Homer, Pythagoras, Zalian, Edison to utilize the Toph's book buffs. Then last team could be Hugo, Solomon, Arthur, Edison for a more Earth build where Arthur nullifies them, makes them do less damage, Edison steals their energy, then Hugo and Solomon can finish them off. Next off we got Hector. So Hector's backstory is really cool. I did not know about his previous relationship with Paris about this, and it talks about how Hector died against Achilles and then his other backstory. So this is actually really cool. We recommend to see it. Here's his ult. So super cool animation. So for his skills, he deals column damage to the closest enemies for his basic attack. Then his skill is same thing but stronger. But now the party that he's on deals plus 20% attack if there are 2 enemies in the column, so that's very OP. Hyper is an even upgraded version of that where it's higher attack. So his strategy could be a column destroyer where he tries to attack the most enemies in the column and then he gets his teammates to do the same. So it's really good for those type of team formations to fight against. Elements can be a frost for all 3 first ones, then fourth could be tornado. Stats could be very high speed so that he attacks the column first, high attack 2, then medium health, medium crit, so more of a assassin build, but also you also want him to survive longer, so you could go for higher health too so that your party can deal more damage too. Then team examples could be Zalian, Akechi, Elizabeth, Hector, all Thoth's book, and for win, so you utilize that faction buff. You can use Cervantes, George, Issam, Hector with fire for that Prometheus fire buff, or you can do Pythagoras, Paris, Guan Yu, Hector, Thunder for a little of that lore too. Next off we got Pythagoras. So I like this lore a lot. It actually has a very funny joke about her glasses, so we recommend reading that. Then pull up the YouTube video for this one. So super dope. So her skills are very interesting. So they have random effects depending per level, which I'll pull up right now. So she has a bunch of different effects. The ones I would personally recommend would be the third one for the basic attack. So target deals 20% less damage, very similar to Arthur. Or the fourth one, target loses 10 energy, very similar to Edison. And then for her skill and hyper, I would actually recommend 4 and 5. So they would also lose 10 energy like the last one, but now it's an even more upgraded one if you do level 5. So that'll be 30% less damage for 2 rounds. Then same thing for the hyper 2. So all of these are progressively stronger and they're all for attacking 1 target. So a recommended strategy would be for her to be a super nerfer where she reduces the strongest enemy's damage or energy, so maybe you can do Frost for all 3 first ones and 4 for Tornado for the last one. Stats could be a very high speed to nerf him right off the bat, high attack, medium health, low crit, since she'll naturally have the Doff's book crit if you have 3 of them. So team examples could be Helen, Zalian, Guan Yu, and Pythagoras, all wins. Then second one could be Hugo, Pierce, Homer, Pythagoras for Thunder to utilize those skill attacks. Nerf, if you want to go more tankier build with Aegis, you can do Zoro, Jean, Robin Hood, and Pythagoras. Last one, Zalian. So he has a very interesting backstory, particularly with his weapon Dragon Gall, and it also talks about his relationship with Guan Yu, so very cool. Would recommend to read it. Then here's his ult. So super dope. I like how he jumps up in the air and hits him. Alright, then his skill is very similar to Hector, in which they do column damage to the closest enemies, but now it's plus 50% damage on a second target if it's level 6. Then the skill and hyper are very interesting because now it's more damage, but it's plus 60% damage if it's only one target. Same for hyper skill, where it's more damage. So a strategy you could use is that even though the skill does column damage, maybe you want to go for enemies that are isolated. So you want to isolate and destroy the enemy with the skills by utilizing that second effect from the level 6 to deal even more damage if it's one enemy. So maybe you can do Frost for all 3 first ones and 4 for Tornado, and stats could be it could be high speed, very high attack, so that you want to deal as much damage as possible. Maybe in 2 or 3 shot them, medium health, medium crit. If you want to go more safer route, maybe you can do higher health, then medium speed, very high attack, medium crit. Then in team examples could be Hector, Nightingale, Elizabeth, Zalian for all Dolph's book. Maybe you can do Hohenheim, Alexander, Hanzo, Zalian for a tankier Aegis build, or you can do Pythagoras, Pierce, Guan Yu, Zalian for a more stronger build of attacking most of the enemies. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed learning more about the 12 new characters in our latest patch, and let me know if you guys have any questions, comments about them, or any other builds you recommend playing with a certain character. So yeah, hope you enjoyed it, and talk to y'all soon. See ya.